What makes a legend? Is it power, strength, the ability to conquer? Or is it something greater, something that defies death itself? Over 2,500 years ago, one man stood against an empire. He knew he would die. He knew his warriors would fall. Yet he chose to fight, not for victory, but to ignite a fire that would never burn out. His name was Leonidas, and his final stand at Thermopylae became one of the most celebrated moments in history. But who was he before the legend? How did Sparta create warriors so fearless that they would fight to the last breath against impossible odds? This is the story of Leonidas, the warrior king who became immortal. To understand Leonidas, you must first understand Sparta, the city that bred warriors like no other civilization in history. While Athens built grand temples and debated philosophy, Sparta was forged in blood, iron, and discipline. It was a city designed entirely for war. At its peak, Sparta was the most feared military force in the Greek world. Other city-states had armies, but Sparta was an army. Hoplite warfare. Spartan soldiers fought in the legendary phalanx formation, a nearly impenetrable wall of shields and spears. Professional warriors. While most Greek soldiers were part-time fighters, farmers or merchants in peacetime, Spartan men trained for war their entire lives. Battle-hardened society. Every aspect of Spartan life revolved around strength, endurance, and combat readiness. No walls. While Athens built massive fortifications, Sparta relied solely on its warriors. Their belief, our warriors are our walls. Equality in battle. Unlike other Greek states, where noblemen had privileges, every Spartan warrior fought and died the same way, on the battlefield. Even the mighty Persian Empire, with its vast armies stretching across 3 continents, feared the power of Sparta. Sparta was unique, not only for its warriors, but for the roles of its people. Unlike other Greek city-states, Spartan women had significant power and influence. Spartan women. They were trained in physical fitness, encouraged to speak their minds, and manage the household in the absence of men. They were the backbone of Spartan society. Helots, the enslaved population that worked the land and provided the resources that allowed Spartan men to focus solely on war. The Helots vastly outnumbered Spartans, leading to constant fear of rebellion. This rigid social structure allowed Sparta to function as a true military powerhouse. What made Spartan warriors so deadly? Their brutal upbringing. Unlike other Greek city-states, where boys studied poetry, music, and philosophy, Spartan boys were trained to fight, endure pain, and survive at any cost. This system was called the agoge, and it was one of the most extreme military training programs in history. Early training. Spartan boys were taken from their families and placed under the care of the state. They were taught basic survival skills, learned to fight, and endured constant physical hardships. Their ability to endure pain, hunger, and discomfort was pushed to the limits. Discipline and loyalty. The emphasis was not only on physical endurance, but also on teaching obedience to authority and loyalty to the state. A sense of brotherhood and camaraderie was cultivated, as boys were often paired with other boys as battle buddies, ensuring they would fight for each other's survival. Combat and weapons training. From the age of 12, Spartan boys were trained in hand-to-hand combat, weapons use, and the famous phalanx formation. Their skill with the spear and shield became legendary. This training was designed to create soldiers capable of standing firm in the face of overwhelming odds, just as Leonidas and his warriors did at Thermopylae. Harshness and survival. One of the most famous aspects of the agoge was the rigorous and brutal nature of the training. Boys were intentionally underfed to teach them to steal food without getting caught. If they were caught stealing, the punishment was not for the theft itself, but for failing to do so without being detected. Boys in the wilderness. At age 12, boys were sent into the wilderness without food or shelter and forced to survive for several days. This harsh survival training was meant to test their endurance, resourcefulness, and ability to make decisions under pressure. Failure to complete the task was a shameful outcome that could result in death. By the time a Spartan boy became a man, he was a living weapon. Spartan warriors were not simply skilled in combat, they were also among the most physically conditioned individuals in the ancient world. The idea of fitness in Sparta went far beyond modern concepts of strength or athleticism. It was about mental resilience, toughness, and survival in any circumstance. Physical fitness: Spartan men were trained to be lean, strong, and efficient. Their workouts consisted of running, jumping, lifting heavy objects, and sparring. But more than just muscle, physical fitness was about preparing for war. Everything they did was designed to keep them combat-ready. The role of pain: Spartan warriors learned to embrace pain as a part of their daily life. They endured whippings, starvation, and extreme conditions, all to develop a tolerance for suffering. This mindset was crucial in battle, where a Spartan could be expected to fight through injuries and fatigue without hesitation. Endurance and resilience. The focus on endurance meant that Spartan soldiers could march for days without rest, fight for hours without stopping, and endure the worst conditions on the battlefield. This endurance, both physical and mental, made them almost unbeatable in combat. The Persian Wars were a series of conflicts that would define the future of Greece and the Western world. After Darius's failed invasion of Greece in 490 BCE at the Battle of Marathon, his son Xerxes took up the mantle and launched a full-scale invasion to complete what his father had started. The Persian invasion. In 480 BCE, King Xerxes of Persia led a massive army, reportedly numbering over 1 million men, to conquer Greece. The invasion was a continuation of the Persians' imperial ambitions, but it also posed an existential threat to the Greek way of life. The Persians had the advantage of sheer numbers, wealth, and logistical capabilities. However, they lacked the unity and cohesion that the Greeks would demonstrate in their resistance. The strategic importance of Thermopylae. Leonidas's decision to make his stand at Thermopylae, a narrow pass between the mountains and the sea, was a masterstroke of strategy. The geography of the pass nullified the Persians' numerical advantage. A small force could hold the pass against a far larger army, which is exactly what Leonidas and his 300 warriors did. Despite knowing that defeat was inevitable, the Spartans fought with honor, and their actions bought precious time for the rest of Greece to prepare for the war. The heroic stand. For 3 days, the Spartans, along with their allies, repelled wave after wave of Persian assaults. The Persians used their elite forces, the Immortals, but the Spartan phalanx was too strong. As the Persians fell back, the Spartans remained relentless. Leonidas and his men demonstrated the values of honor, courage, and commitment, which have been immortalized ever since. The ultimate betrayal. Unfortunately, the Greeks were betrayed by Ephialtes, a local traitor who revealed a secret mountain pass to the Persians. This allowed the Persian army to encircle the Greek forces. Leonidas and his warriors, now completely surrounded, fought to the death, holding the pass to their last breath. Although Leonidas and his warriors were killed at Thermopylae, their sacrifice was not in vain. Their bravery and defiance became a rallying cry for the rest of Greece. The Greek response. The heroic stand at Thermopylae inspired the Greek city-states to unite. Led by Athens and Sparta, the Greeks faced the Persians at the Battle of Salamis, where the Greeks, using naval tactics, decisively defeated the Persian fleet. The Battle of Plataea. 1 year later, at the Battle of Plataea, the Greek forces crushed the remaining Persian army, ensuring Greece's independence and bringing an end to Xerxes' campaign. Symbol of resistance. Leonidas's words, "Molon Labe," became the ultimate symbol of defiance in the face of tyranny. The idea of refusing to surrender, of fighting for freedom against overwhelming odds, continued to resonate for centuries. In the centuries following his death, Leonidas became more than just a historical figure. He became a mythic hero. His story would echo through the ages, inspiring military leaders, philosophers, and ordinary citizens alike. Literary and artistic depictions, Leonidas has been immortalized in art, literature, and poetry. His bravery and sacrifice were extolled in Greek tragedy, and his story became an essential part of the Greek cultural identity. Modern influence. In modern times, Leonidas and the Spartan ethos have continued to inspire military leaders, philosophers, and leaders around the world. The 2006 film 300 introduced a new generation to Leonidas, though it should be noted that the film took considerable creative liberties with the historical events. The influence of Sparta, and especially Leonidas's legacy, can be seen in modern military thinking and leadership training. From the US Marines to elite special forces, Spartan principles of discipline, unity, and sacrifice remain core tenets of military culture. Spartan discipline in modern military. The discipline that was instilled through the agoge has been incorporated into modern military training systems. Endurance, self-reliance, and mentality under pressure are core aspects of today's elite forces. Leadership lessons from Leonidas. Leonidas led by example, never asking his men to do something he wouldn't do himself. Modern leaders often look to his example when facing difficult decisions, balancing personal sacrifice with responsibility for others. Leonidas may have died on the battlefield, but his legend lives on. His refusal to surrender, his loyalty to his comrades, and his commitment to the defense of his home have made him a timeless symbol of courage, resilience, and sacrifice. The story of Leonidas, the Immortal Warrior King, reminds us that true strength is not found in the size of an army or the wealth of a nation, but in the hearts of those who stand firm, even in the face of impossible odds.